is Natalia, and today I'm going to show you how to create this pop-up cube. It's such a fun card and you get the best reactions when people open it. To make it easier for you to create this pop-up cube, I've made a Patreon page where my stencils will be, so if you'd like, go ahead in the description down below, click on the link and find the stencils. And here's what you need to create this cube. Create a rectangle with the measurements down below. Divide the long side by 3 and make markings at 7 and 14 centimeters. And do this on the opposite side as well. Make lines between the markings. On the short side, measure and mark 7, 8.5, 10, and 17 centimeters. Do the same thing on the opposite side and make lines between the markings. Create a line from this corner to this corner. And do the same thing in the opposite square. Make a line going from this corner to this line and use this opposite corner here as a guide. And do the same thing on the opposite side. Now I'm just going to scratch out what you don't need from the stencil and what you do need. So cut out your stencil so it looks like a fish. Place the stencil on your construction paper and start sketching around it. Also, make markings on the areas where the lines just stop, so you know where to place your ruler and make the new lines. Otherwise, you need to use the corners as a guide to where to place your ruler and make the new lines. So continue adding the remaining lines, and you can even use the stencil as a helping guide. It should look exactly like your stencil. Repeat the same sketching process with the other piece of construction paper. Now cut them out. Place your ruler on all of the lines and bend the paper over it. Refold everything to make it more obvious, and then repeat the same folding process with the other piece. We need to cut some corners, just don't cut off too much. Then make some cuts here and here to make some flaps. Then cut the corners of these flaps. We also need to cut some corners here in the middle, so place your finger on the line here and fold the paper. Then place your finger on the fold and fold the paper backwards. Then bend this middle flap here the other way. Then pinch the middle flap and cut the corners. And you need to repeat the same cutting process with the other piece, so you'll end up with 2 identical pieces. We need to attach the rubber band, but first, we need to make a hole. So put them on top of each other and fold them like this. Make a tiny marking closest to this line and away from the edge. Place your cards on an eraser to protect your table and use something sharp and pointy to make a hole. Expand it a little bit so it's easier to get the rubber band through. Before adding the rubber band, we need to decorate them. You can draw something, write something, or just cut out some pretty squares. You can glue these squares directly onto the squares of the cube. Don't forget to press down to make them stick properly. Now we need to glue these 2 pieces together. So place them like this and take this flap here and bend it backwards. Put some glue on it and make sure that everything is aligned before gluing it onto the other piece. We need to attach the rubber band into the holes we made earlier, so take it and cut it open. Try to push it through one of the holes and make a couple of knots. To attach the other end, make sure that your card stays in place with something heavy. Then push it through the other opening and make some knots. And for some reason, some rubber bands just give up, so you need to repeat the whole thing again with another one. When everything is attached, it needs to have this kind of bouncy effect. We need to glue the rest of the cube together, so take this wing here and fold it downwards. Then fold it backwards like this, and then take the little flap here and fold that downwards as well. And do the same thing with the opposite wing. Put something heavy on the other end of the card to hold it, put some glue on the 2 flaps, and attach them onto the square of the card. Try to avoid the middle fold here when attaching the flaps. Then press down to make the whole thing stick. Keep this end closed and put something heavy on top. Then take the wings in the other end and fold them in the exact same way. Put some glue on these flaps as well. Keep them closed like this and fold the rest of the end over them. And press down to make the whole thing stick properly. Put some glue on the remaining flap and glue it right into the other end of the cube. And press down to make the whole thing stick properly. Put something heavy on top of the cube to make sure that everything dries completely before opening it up. We also need to create a box for the cube, and we need some extra pieces of construction paper with the measurements on the screen to do exactly that. Now measure and mark 1, 9, 10 and 18 centimeters, and do this on the opposite side as well. Make lines between these markings. Place your ruler on all of the lines and bend the paper over it. Then refold all of the lines to make them much more obvious. Put some glue on one of the flaps and attach it to the other one. Make sure that everything is aligned before pressing down to make it stick properly. We need to make the drawer as well, so take the other piece of construction paper and measure 1 centimeter inwards from each of the sides. And make lines between each of the markings. Place your ruler on all of the lines and bend the paper over it. Then refold everything to make them more obvious. Then make a single cut on one side of all of the corners. Fold them all inwards, put some glue on all of them, and then attach them onto all of the sides. When everything has dried, the box should work. If you want, you can decorate the box with whatever you like a drawing, a picture or some poetry. That's totally up to you. You can put the single cube into the box, or you can make another one. So just let your imagination loose and get creative. Now for the random question of the day. What embarrassing thing have you done while traveling? A few weeks ago I was at London and I get lost pretty easily, and in my confusion and my lostness, I accidentally walked right into a lamppost, like straight into it, with my ear first. The bump on my head is finally gone, but it hurt so bad. I had a massive headache that night and the morning after. I wasn't looking down at my phone. I was trying to, look for signs and arrows or exit somewhere. Don't do what I did. Ask people instead of walking around and being confused. So I hope you enjoy watching. Leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you're looking for more friendship DIYs, check out these videos here, and I'll see you soon with more ideas. Bye!